The level 80 Dark Knight Quest put me in a state of awe that was vastly more difficult to verbalize than I anticipated. So much so that I spent the next 10 minutes of my stream like I'd just taken a low blow to the nuts. There was no big bang that made me go, "Ah, snap, yo, look at this, oh my god!" Or a death that made me say something of extremely questionable morality, all of which would leave me age restricted by my technocratic overlords. It was just a few minutes of the Warrior of Light, her sword, and their thoughts in a cold, silent emptiness. But I think that silence speaks volumes, and I'll explain why. Starting with everyone's favorite expansion, A Realm Reborn. Throughout the course of A Realm Reborn, the Warrior of Light is essentially Eorzea's errand girl, in a literal sense that is highly monotonous. Doing whatever is required of her by the world at large, putting her life on the line, and doing things for people she ultimately owes nothing to. Creating a growing inner monologue of hatred for people who are too lazy to walk across town to deliver a message for themselves. We slowly develop more and more of an internal hatred for the normies until all of it culminates in the level 50 Dark Knight Quest. The inner monologue takes form and lashes out at all around her out of pure thirst for revenge. Eventually we tame these emotions by accepting them as part of us and allowing them to exist, however, not letting them take the reins. By the time we get to level 70, we have lost many lives, people we have come to know, and also slaughtered countless people. I mean, we really are in the title of Weapon of Light. But what can one do but to question yourself and to look for another way to save those lost? It's the child in us all. In comes $5 footlong Ysayle. Mist represents the Warrior of Light's childlike innocence. A desire to create a world where people no longer have to suffer and lose those close to them, even if the world can only be made a reality through lies and deceit, should it exist. To that end, Mist creates images of people's fallen loved ones in order to help them, thinking this will somehow fix the damage dealt from their grief. In comes our darkness to knock some sense into the Warrior of Light's childish rebellion. The darkness within the Warrior of Light interfaces with her and who she is, so that despite all the sins she's committed, she doesn't regret them because she can't regret them, and try to change them, or in Mist's case, pretend they never happened. That invalidates the struggle that Warrior Light and Frey had, the people she lost, the experiences throughout her life. To throw it all away for a lie would be a horrible thing to do. This all being secondary to the fact that Frey mostly just comes out because she doesn't want to give up the reins to gender-bendy Ysayle. Throughout the course of Shadowbringers, the Warrior of Light fails on multiple occasions, the biggest one being, well, I'll just let myself explain this one. Oh, come on, man! I don't need this right now. I don't need this right now, man. Because of our failure to contain the power of all 5 Light Wardens, Emmett decides we are no longer of use to him and backstabs, or should I say, backshoots us. And in the end, he gets away with the Exarch scot-free, and we are just left with regret for our past mistakes and transgressions. Eventually, we awake to Ardbert at our bedside, and he wastes no time in reminding us that we're fucking failures. As he directs our attention outside, we see that everything we've done so far was undone by our own actions. In a poetic turn of events, our epic journey to kill all the Light Wardens in Norvrent has ended with us becoming the Light Warden for all of Norvrent. You could even say, everything the light touches is our kingdom. And we all know what happens after this. The Warrior Light ends up having to eventually kill Emmett. But even then, the only way she was able to kill him was via letting a whole ass new dude come inside of her. But by the end of it all, something miraculous happens to her as a Dark Knight. The Warrior of Light doesn't have another proverbial bang of emotion spanning into 10 levels of edgy teen angst. Despite having fumbled on more than one occasion this expansion and having seen some serious shit. She's happy. Now, ignoring the fact that this is mostly because of budget reasons, there's genuinely a lesson to be taken away here. Her entire inner monologue has changed over her journey from one born of a need to scream from the rooftops and be heard, to be understood, to one of a silent contentment and confidence. Through all of her trials she has faced so far, she's grown, and she's satisfied with what she's done, even if it wasn't perfect. She's content with the story she's left behind, and others can tell it the way they want. However, only the author knows the true meaning. So take after the Warrior of Light. Be content with your accomplishments even if they weren't perfect, because only you've experienced your accomplishments firsthand. And speaking of accomplishments, achieving this way of thinking about yourself is a big one. Don't expect something like this to come overnight. It took the Warrior of Light a decade worth of DLC to get there, so don't expect any less from yourself. And while technically you won't have to travel to a new dimension and save a planet from destruction, sometimes it'll feel like it. But if you're willing to be self-reflective and patient, you'll beat the Warrior of Light's shitty track record and win without even needing Ardbert to come inside you. Discord is where all the cool kids are, so become a cool kid.